I saw some guys dropping in on the west over there. Oh, are you kidding me? Dude, I can't pick anything up. The roof, I don't know. Oh, this Xbox, I swear. Man, I can barely hear Mark. How about you? And his Xbox probably died again. The thing's on peace. And you're probably in the kitchen anyway, like always. So, I'm playing. Buttons. Oh. Yeah. Stupid.
And so now it's time to make that leap to PC gaming. But let's face it, you don't have the money to keep up with any of these bad boys. But I'm gonna be your savior, sail the open seas, and figure out how to save you some money. Now, my first thought is head on down to PCPartPicker.com. Let's make a list of all the cheapest parts available, save some performance, but you bet we're gonna head on down to Google and Amazon and try to get them for cheaper because, let's face it, we're all broke, right? Our cadaver for today is going to be our lovely Dell Optiplex 7010. Now this thing has a 256 gig SSD, 8 gigs of memory, and a Core i5 chip inside. I figured this would be good to start with and give us some good components to work from. Now, it would have been awesome to just unplug some things, take the guts of one guy and put him in this cool new case and call it a day, right? I mean, you're a good old certified PC gamer, right? Wrong. Well, I mean, it's possible, but there's a lot of hurdles to get over. Like, you have to make sure you pick the right graphics card, otherwise it's a tight fit between it and the power connector on the motherboard, and then you're fucked. Not only that, but you lose a bunch of buttons and inputs on the front of the case, and the motherboard can't supply enough power to the GPU.
Houston, we have a problem.
So what did I do? I went and got myself another motherboard. Boom. This is gonna be the motherboard that we're using.
A few moments later.
Looks like there's gonna have to be a part 2. For whatever reason. Don't listen to him, listen to me. Now, don't do this unless you just want a challenge, or just don't do this. I couldn't think of a good reason. There's several issues that you could probably think less hard about finding the money to buy a gaming PC, and it'd probably be an easier thing to make happen, honestly. There are ways to do it. I'm just gonna, in case you're not turned off by it enough, I'm gonna tell you what I ran into and what to look out for if you decide to. The motherboard is a micro ATX. The graphics card has to be smaller than a GTX 1050. And it has to have an external port for the power supply if you're not swapping motherboards. If you're switching motherboards, you have to make sure that the motherboard can house the older generation processors and different size RAM. I'm not exactly sure what size the RAM was. I'm not familiar with the different sizes of RAM, but I'm sure you could figure that one out because my RAM and the processor didn't fit on the motherboard that I had gotten. The graphics card ran into the power connector on the motherboard. I could plug it in, but I had to wiggle it and I had to there was a slight bend in the graphics card upwards, and I didn't want to deal with like fan scraping or anything like that, or over time with heat it affecting pieces. And you lose the front panel USBs and input, output, mic, and headphone jack. So yeah, okay, you can make this happen. If you're trying to transplant the motherboard and everything all together, just take the motherboard, move it to another case, make sure you got the right fitment, and make sure the graphics card has clearance from the power connector from the PSU. If you're swapping motherboards so that you have full functionality, make sure you get the proper motherboard to house all those components. Don't waste your time if money is your issue. Just spend the time that you would spend figuring this project out and figure out how you can make some money. Do it that way. All in all, I haven't gotten it to work yet, but I'm deciding what I want to do with it moving forward. I advise you guys not to do this unless you just want a challenge or you're experimenting like I am, because on the back end, you're not going to save very much money and it's going to be a lot of headache at the end of the day anyway. So with that being said, that's all I got for you guys today. Tune in a couple days for the next video. Make sure you hit the alert so you know when that happens. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys take it easy. Peace.